guys, and welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, my name is Emma. So today I'm going to be doing a book haul. I have hit and surpassed reading 25 books. I did buy some of these before finishing all 25 books because I knew that I was going to soon-ish. And also because I wanted them to get here sooner rather than later, because I got a lot of them through thrift books, which times, it varies as to when they'll arrive. And just a little reminder, please always check out the content warnings for any of the books that I recommend. I tend to pick a lot of sadder books, or books that can be more challenging to read with challenging themes. I don't mean wow, I'm so smart. So just double check that if you feel like you need to. I don't really know what else to say, so let's just get started. First off, we have The Taming of the Shrew by William Shakespeare. This is yet another William Shakespeare play. This is what the movie 10 Things I Hate About You was based on, and I think that's cool. And I also just like reading Shakespeare. I have a little rainbow of Folgers editions now, and it's really cute, and it makes me happy. I'm also going to be taking a Shakespeare class in the fall, so I'm trying to read some more of them. I have about 5 unread ones at this point. I'm thinking of doing another Shakespeare video because I just think that'd be fun, and I'd like to read them before I start the class because I think I would feel more confident in the class. Next up is The Diana Chronicles by Tina Brown. This is a autobiography? I don't know the difference. Yes. And it is about Diana. I'm now a little bit regretting this purchase. It was actually insanely cheap. This is a dense biography or whatever it's called, and I think it would just take me a long time to get through it, so I'll probably just end up getting the audiobook of it or another similar book and maybe getting rid of this one, or maybe even listening along, because that seems to help my reading process a lot, but we'll see about that. Next up is The Fall and the Stranger by Albert Camus. Albert Camus is a French writer, and he was mentioned in Saigon by Phuc Tran, and one of his chapters in this is called The Plague, which is one of Albert Camus' more famous novels, and he talked about it and Albert Camus in general in just a really interesting way, and I really wanted to read some of his work. So I decided that I would get some of it, but I didn't really want to read The Plague, I think because it was really long, and so instead I decided to get 2 of his smaller novels, and this one is actually annotated, which is really cool. Yeah. Next up is Leaves of Grass by Walt Whitman. This is a poetry. It's not a collection. Leaves of Grass is just one large poem, right? Something like that? Or is it individual? It's individual poems, but it's why am I talking like I know what I'm talking about? It's a poetry collection. It has Walt Whitman's poetry in it. That's all that matters. I like poetry, and I got it. Next up is The Silence of the Girls by Pat Barker. It's Barker. This book follows Briseis, who was captured by whatever the army that was on the outside of Troy, attacking Troy, whatever those people were called. I don't remember. It just says the Greeks. Okay. When the Greek queen Helen is kidnapped by Trojans, the Greeks sail in pursuit, besieging the city of Troy. Trapped in the Greek soldiers' camp is another captured queen, Briseis, condemned to be bed slave to Achilles, the man who butchered her family. She becomes a pawn in a menacing game between bored and frustrated warriors. In the centuries after this most famous war, history will write her off. A footnote in a bloody story scripted by vengeful men, but Briseis has a very different story to tell. My mom has actually already read this, and she really enjoyed it, and so I'm excited to read it. Honestly, the only information I know about this war and everything surrounding it is really vague from long ago when I looked into the myths of Helen. I haven't really studied her myths in a while, and not everything surrounding this, and from the Song of Achilles. Anyways, it's Greek mythology-esque, and I really love that, and so I'm excited to try it out. Next up is Little Scratch by Rebecca Watson. This follows her throughout 24 hours, where she's kind of writing down her stream of consciousness, and it's in a really interesting format because it's not straightforward. There's a lot of formatting on the page, and it's It's kind of similar to like the formatting that's in Dear Justice and Dear Martin, I think as well too, and in quite a few poetry books where it's like a little bit off kilter or just something like that. It's just formatted in the way that they're thought out, because a lot of thoughts aren't just like straight shot. Like my mind goes in like 5 different directions based off of someone being like, hey, color red, what do you think of? And it's like, boom. Yeah, I think it's just really interesting how it was written and the entire concept. It is also following her after the events of sexual assault, and I don't know. Oh my god, that scared the crap out of me. I'm so sorry. This is like touching my head and it really freaked me out. Anyways, it's following her after the events of that and just how it has affected her, I guess. Stop! Next up is So You've Been Publicly Shamed by Jon Ronson. This book, I believe, follows cancel culture, but also just like shame throughout the years, how we used to do in like public events that were like really physically brutal a lot of times, and now how it's sort of on social media, but it still can be like brutal. And I think I first saw this recommended on Kat's channel, Paperback Dreams, and I'm pretty sure she liked it. I don't think I would have written it down on like a list of books I want to get if she hadn't like said good things about it, but it's also been on a lot of places around BookTube. So next up is Know My Name by Chanel Miller. This is a memoir and she's talking about her life in the events after the Brock Turner case, and it's the first time, I believe, that she's like disclosing her real name, because she used to go by Emily Doe in relation to the trial. I've heard amazing things about it, that it's really well written and everything like that. I've already read the introduction and like that made me cry, because it's really well done, honestly. And so I'm really excited to fully give this a read. I also got a book series, and this was actually a gift from my sister's friend, and it was really silly. Basically, for some reason, we were talking about guessing his birthday, and then I guessed it correctly, and then so he got me his favorite book series, and that is the Aragon series. I don't know if they actually have the Inheritance Cycle. That's the official name. I remember growing up with my sister reading Aragon, and then also when the movie came out, and I wanted to read Aragon for a long time, but I had no idea when I would get to it, but now I'll probably get to it a lot sooner. I'd actually really like to read this over the summer. I'm planning to like plow through a bunch of series just so I don't have them like hanging over my head anymore. But yeah, so thank you, Dumbo. Next up is like the Carley Thorn influence section, basically. These are all books that I heard Carley Thorn from UnCarly recommend throughout a few different videos, I think. First up is The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath, and I also got Mary Ventura and the Ninth Kingdom. She didn't specifically recommend this one, but I saw it when I was grabbing this, and I've actually already read it twice this month, and it's really good, honestly. It's extremely short, has like giant text. It's a very quick read, but it's really interesting. It has a lot going on in it, and I absolutely loved it, and so I'm very excited to read The Bell Jar and to see just more of her work. Next up is Slow Days, Fast Company by Youve Babbitts. I honestly don't really remember what this one's about, but I've seen a lot of people get it and like thank Carley Thorn for recommending it to them. It says the world, the flesh, and LA, and I think it does follow a lot of LA and some other parts of California, and it's Youve Babbitts. It's set in like 1960s, 70s. Also, I'm pretty sure it's non-fiction. It's like this is when that all happened. So I'm sorry, that was like a horrible explanation, but to be honest, I've read the back of this book multiple times and I can never seem to retain it. Next up is Less by Andrew Sean Greer. This follows a man in his like 50s. He's a writer and he gets an invitation to his ex-boyfriend's wedding and he's like, no. But he also doesn't want to seem bitter, and so he accepts all of these invitations to different like literary conventions around the world, and he travels the world instead of going to his ex's wedding, which is just fantastic, honestly. I like books that follow authors. It's just kind of fun because like an author writing about an author, which is like usually kind of themselves, but not always, you know? Yeah, I think it's fun. Lastly, this book was mentioned in her bookshelf tour and is Improv Nation by Sam Wasson, or Wasson, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but it's basically the story of improv and how it was made, and that just is really interesting to me. I did improv in high school and I had a lot of fun doing it, so I think I would just really enjoy knowing like the history of it and all that jazz, and just something fun to read. So those are all of the books that I've purchased recently. I hope you enjoyed watching, and if you did, please give it a like. And let me know if you've read any of these books and what your thoughts were. Just no spoilers, please. And I will see you guys soon. Bye.